Hosanna. That means save us. It was on the lips of the crowd on Palm Sunday. It was on the lips of the people who were healed. It was on the lips of the children. It's on the lips of the lame and the blind. It was also on the lips of the Lord Jesus. As he discussed with the religious leaders of that day, he presented himself as the only one who could bring salvation. But they rejected him. They planned on crucifying him. And we'll pick up the story in John chapter 18. He had gone and he had had the last meal with his disciples. And he finished the meal. Read with me from John chapter 18, starting in verse 1. When he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. So he went up into the temple, through the temple courtyard, out to the eastern gate, down into the valley, crossed over the Kidron, and he went on up to what is called the Mount of Olives. On the other side, there was an olive grove, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place, because Jesus met often there with his disciples. So Judas came to the grove, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the high priest and Pharisees. They were carrying torches and lanterns and arms. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen, did you notice that? Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it that you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," said Jesus. And Judas the traitor was standing with them. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell onto the ground. Again he asked them, "Who is it that you want?" And they said, "Jesus of Nazareth." "I told you that I am he," Jesus answered. "If you are looking for me, then let these men go." This happened so that the words that he had spoken might be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, actually they had two swords. Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Betrayed, cornered, arrested. How would you respond? Run away? slip into the darkness, call for help. His response is one of concern for his friends and one of service to them. Judas came to the grove guiding a detachment of soldiers. Now, this word for detachment tells us it's a Roman cohort who is commanded by a chiliarch. That means the commander of 1,000. Perhaps they didn't have 1,000, it was only maybe 650. Along with the temple guard and people of the high priest. You see, they had tried to capture him. They had tried to arrest him, and he just walked through their midst. He just disappeared. And tonight, they were going to be prepared. It's shortly after midnight, and it's dark. And he could be hiding in the olive grove and slip away. So they came prepared with lanterns and torches. They were not going to let him get away tonight. Getting away was probably going to be difficult anyway because it's a full moon. But if they needed to track down a suspect as they suspected, they were ready. Did you notice? They're all ready and they have planned. And Jesus, it says in verse 4, Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, he went out and asked them, what do you want? Who is it that you want? Mark and Matthew say the sign of betrayal is a kiss. Luke says, Judas went up, and to identify him among the others, I kissed him. You know, only a friend can betray a friend. People who don't know you, they can't betray you. And Jesus, knowing exactly what was going to happen, allowed Judas to kiss him. Twice, Judas is described as the traitor. You see, instead of standing with the friends of Jesus and the disciples, he stands with the enemies. Whom were you looking for? Jesus of Nazareth. And he says, I am. And in English, we add, I am he. I am. And for a minute, his glory appears. And all of those men who had come to arrest him, in their armor, with their arms, they fall backwards. And they are completely hopeless. There are men who are strong or on their face. The innocent man is standing strong. The armed men do not know what's going on. The innocent man, he knows everything. He knows what to do to solve the problem. He knows who they are. He knows everything. And as they draw back and fall down, they are completely helpless. If he had wanted to, he could have walked through their midst and be gone. Who do you want? Jesus of Nazareth. Did you notice what he does with that? He draws all attention to himself. I am he. If you want me, let these others go. Jesus is portrayed as the good shepherd who voluntarily chooses to be arrested, tortured, and murdered in order to save the life of his sheep. Did you notice verse 9? This happens so that the words he spoken would be fulfilled. I have not lost one of those that you gave me. Peter, impulsive that he is, he says, no. We're going to fight. And he pulls out a sword, probably a dagger. And he wields it and chops off somebody's ear. Can you imagine Malchus going home that night and his wife saying, why are your clothing all bloody? Well, somebody chopped off my ear. And she says, well, it looks okay to me. Yes, you want to believe it? He picked it up and put it back on. And it's as good as new. Now, if I had been there, I would say, I don't think I want to arrest this guy. But Jesus turns to Peter and says, Peter, put away your sword. Should I not drink the cup that the Father has given me? Should I not die as my Father has planned it for me? You see, he knows what his mission is. He knows how to respond to betrayal. He knows how to respond to violence. There are men with murder in their hearts. They are cowards. They are unaware. They are powerless. This innocent man stands all alone. He could have stopped them right then. But he had service in his heart. To keep all the ones that God has given. And to obey his Father completely. To keep all the ones that God has given him. And to obey the Father completely. That's what we celebrate tonight. He keeps each one. Now, we don't oftentimes face an armed crowd getting ready to lynch us or to haul us off. But I'm sure each one of us faces this problem. I know who you are. I know your deepest and darkest secret. How dare you pretend to be a believer? I know who you are. And with shame, we have to admit that voice in us is right. And as we think about that, we need to think about the fact that Jesus came to earth not just to obey his Father, but to show us how much he loves us. My grandmother gave me a picture one day. And on this picture, it was a picture of Christ. He loved us so much, he stretched out his hands and died. In just a minute, we're going to partake of the Lord's table. I want to invite you, after the song has been played, to come up and join us and take up the Lord's table when you feel ready. I have to say two things about it. It's not my table. It's the Lord's table. And he invites us to come because we are sinful. He invites us to do business with him and to say, tell me where I have been wrong, and I will agree with you. Because when I agree with you, you don't reject me, but you cover me with your grace, and I am free. Second thing I have to say is it's only for those who have come to know the Lord Jesus as their Savior, so that they have, at some point in time, consciously said, yes, I know the Lord Jesus is my Savior. I know I can't go to heaven on my own. I know he's everything he claims to be. He took my place. And the best I know how, I will trust in him. You see, we as unbelievers and as believers have to learn to trust in him. The song that we're going to play in just a minute is a great song. Could I just tell you some of the words? Two wonders here I must confess. My worth and my unworthiness. My value fixed, my ransom paid at the cross. Could we play the song now?